Good evening and afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining this Emma Bowen Foundation recruitment webinar, Become an Emma, How to Work in the Media, Get Paid, and Launch Your Career. I am Michael Barham. I'm the Director of Strategy and Analytics with the Emma Bowen Foundation, and I am joined here by Erin Roberts, our Communications and Development Director.
Hi, everyone.
So we have a really fun webinar. We really want to let you guys know about the process and introduce you to some of our alums, as well as our Senior Vice President of Recruitment, who's going to tell you a lot about what you really need to know to get a leg up on the competition. But before we get into that, we want to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do.
Yeah. So the Emma Bowen Foundation has been around since 1989, and it was really founded because people looked around at the media industry and saw that there were a lot of negative images on screen of people of color, and they figured that as opposed to just trying to tackle what's in front of the screen, should also tackle the people making the decisions. And so that's how it started, and since then it's broadened to really trying to increase diversity in all aspects of media. So we're talking about people who are doing digital media, people who are doing software stuff and engineering, as well as people who are doing journalism, who are in front of the camera, producing. If there's anything to do with getting the word out about media and technology or anything to do with those industries, that's what we tackle. And we'll talk a little bit more about sort of how we do that, just to give you a little sense of that in a second. But first, I'll turn it back over to Michael for a little bit of housekeeping and excitement.
Yes, a lot of excitement. So one thing we want to say, interactivity is encouraged. There's a question box you all should have access to. Please type your questions in, whether they are any technical difficulties or just content questions, questions for our speakers, and we'll be keeping an eye on that throughout the webinar, and we're going to reserve plenty of time. I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions, so we'll reserve plenty of time at the end of the webinar for those questions. Keep in mind, the webinar is being recorded. We're going to make it available on the EBF website afterwards. So if you have to hop off for any reason, you'll be able to join and see what you missed. And please respond to the follow-up survey. We want to make sure this was a useful webinar for you all, and that's an easy way for us to learn from you. So we want to introduce you to our alums and do a little bit more, but before that, we want to learn a little bit more about you all. So what we're going to do now is launch a few poll questions, and we'd love for you all to just jump on your computer and let us know a little bit more about yourselves. So first question is about to be launched. You should see it shortly on your screen. And again, the question is, which group best represents you? So high school junior, senior, college freshman, sophomore, college junior, senior, community partner, might be another age. We'd love to hear more.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of others here as we're watching. So, you know, if you want to throw up in the chat box and just let us know sort of what group you belong to. Maybe you're a younger high school student, or maybe you cannot be categorized because you are so cool. Whatever it is, just let us know so we have a good sense and we can target a little bit of what we're doing to the people who are on the call with us.
Exactly. Okay, looks like everyone has voted, and we're going to share that with you all. We have pretty good representation of high school juniors and seniors and a bunch of college freshmen and sophomores. And as Erin mentioned, please, if you are one of those others, let us know who you are. Okay, great. Couple of other polls that we mentioned. One, we want to learn what areas of the media industry you are most interested in. This is an interesting one, so please jump into that. We want to learn if you're interested in the business side of things, sales or marketing, or be that human resources, the innovation side, on the tech, engineering, digital media, or in kind of storytelling, and that's production, broadcast, journalism, on air.
Yeah. Exciting. I love watching all your responses come in. It's really cool to see who we've got here and what you guys are into. And for those of you who are partners or whatever, feel free to just say who you think the people you represent are interested in.
Great. Cool, and we had a pretty interesting split. Looks like 37% interested in business, 23% in innovation, and a huge chunk of you all interested in the storytelling side, which is great to know.
Awesome. We've only got two more. So
two more. We're not going to bore you to death with our questions. Just want to learn a little bit more about how you heard about us, be that through school, maybe a community organization, word of mouth, or online, social media. That means someone here is doing a good job, and they're getting the lollipop. Okay, great. And it looks like most of you are finding out either online, maybe email, social media, or through a community organization, and not quite as many through word of mouth, and only a few through school. Very interesting info for us. And we are up to our last question. Just want to know where you guys are from. What region of the country are you representing? These are pretty broad, but want to get a sense.
Rep your hometown.
Okay, great. Looks like almost everyone has voted there too. So looks like we have a bunch of people in the Northeast.
Poor Midwest.
Poor Midwest. We might only have a couple of people there.
We still love you.
We still love the Midwest. A lot of love there. And then we have the South and the West Coast. Some representation there as well. So that was really great to hear from you all and learn a little bit more about you and where you're from and what you're hoping to do in the industry.
And now before we sort of introduce our alumni panelists and Sandra, who runs our recruitment, we just want to give you sort of the basics just in case you didn't know much about the program at all. So what happens is once you sign up, you apply, and if you're selected, you're placed in an internship in the city that you're going to spend your summer when you're during college. Like for some people that's their hometown, but who knows, whatever you're doing, maybe you're going to spend it in the town that you go to college in. But wherever you're planning to spend your college summers, we'll place you in an internship, and you'll be placed with that company throughout your college career, but you may change what you're doing each summer, move around, see different departments, and really get a sense of what that company does. And the companies that we work with, like there's just like a huge range. There are all types of media and technology companies, and the work people do really varies. Could be sales, could be digital media, could be broadcast journalism. We really try to get a huge range because we know you guys have a range of interests, and we want to get all of our fellows really awesome exposure to the industry. And then we also do a cool conference every summer where we bring everybody in on our dime and fly you to New York City, or drive you if you're closer, and get you here, and you get to meet everybody and really get a sense of how awesome all your fellow fellows are. So that's sort of how the program works, like at its core. And just wanted to sort of give you, the alums will get a little more into sort of how it actually works. And speaking of the alums, we did a little fun thing to show sort of what our alums are doing. So this is our 2015 graduates. You can take a look, see what they're up to. If you're on your phone, there are a lot of people who are reporters and in production. There's some analysts, some sales folks, copywriters, producers. We just wanted to show like the range of things that people are doing with their lives now that they've left the Emma Bowen Fellows program. So it's really great opportunity, and no matter what you're interested in, there's probably a place for you in the program. So now we'll talk to 3 specific alums to sort of get a sense of what they're doing and how they enjoyed the program and what they're up to now. So here are our alum panelists.
Yes, we have Danielle Blevins, we have Malcolm Leverett, and we have Sade Mohammed joining us. And what we'd love to do is introduce each one of you. So Danielle, why don't you hop on and tell us a little bit about yourself and your experience with the foundation.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Danielle. I am currently an attorney in Washington, D.C. For about 5 years, I worked in the broadcast news segment of one of the stations. There are partner stations in Birmingham, Alabama, and loved it. Loved my experience there, and it really led me to where I am today, there are just so many different aspects of the industry that even when you're hands-on, there's still so many behind-the-scenes roles. And that was one reason why I became an attorney, is to maneuver into those roles to where you're looking at contracts and deals, making sure that we're keeping stations of color on the air and that we're representing these communities of color and that they're not getting left out in these large telecom deals such as AT&T and DirecTV. So making sure that we still have a voice is one of the reasons why I chose the role to get into it, become an attorney. But I definitely credit Emma Bowen for showing me that there were so many ways to make a difference, not just in front of the camera.
Great, thanks, Danielle. Malcolm, can you jump on and introduce yourself as well? Tell us a little bit about your experience.
Perfect, thank you. So hi, everyone. My name is Malcolm Leverett. I graduated in 2014 from Dartmouth College, so pretty recent. I'm currently living in Philadelphia. I work as an investment analyst at the Vanguard Group. While I was in the program now, so I was in the program for 5 years. While I was in the program, my corporate sponsor was Coast Newsweek Station in Michigan, an affiliate of the Washington Post. They're now Graham Media Holdings. During my experience, I have to say, it was life-changing. So for me, I was focused more so on the business side of media. I'd always been interested in a lot of the media companies, but kind of like Danielle said, behind the scenes. So my rotations were in the sales department, in the research department, in that analytical field, in the accounting department, and also the news. It gave me a full experience, not only like what a company looks like, but what specifically a media company looks like. My older brother was in the program, and so that's one thing that has always resonated with me. I've known about the program, but I didn't know about the power of the program until I went through it. So it's been an incredible experience, and I look forward to talking more about it.
Fantastic. Thanks, Malcolm. Sade, would you hop on too and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your experience.
Sure. I think I just turned on the video by mistake. My name is Sade Mohammed. I am a 2012 graduate of the program and of college. I graduated from Syracuse University. I am currently a brand producer at Forbes Media. And over the past 4 years, so since graduation, immediately after I began as a page, as a member of the NBC Universal Page program, and I credit being admitted to that program to Emma Bowen entirely. They look for a breadth and depth of experience in media, and I had that for 3 years at WPVI 6 ABC in Philadelphia, getting the chance to rotate through different departments. It really just showcased my love for media and my understanding of the space, and I truly believe that. And as a testament to that, many of the minority, I would say the majority of the minority admits to the NBC Page program are in fact from Emma Bowen. So I saw a ton of familiar faces, and it really just speaks to the familiar nature of Emma Bowen and just the strength of the applicant pool and the graduates. So I look forward to talking more about my experience and happy to answer any questions.
Perfect. Thanks, Sade, and thanks to you three for telling us a little bit about your history, your experience. We'd love to jump into a little bit of a Q&A. And folks, while you're listening and following along, please submit some questions for our alumni. This is a really great opportunity for you all to get to know them, get to know their experience, why they got involved, and what they learned throughout the program. And feel free to, you might have some questions about the application and stuff like that too. Feel free to submit those. We'll be getting to those later on when Sandra joins and we learn more about the specifics of the application process.
And then just to answer one question that just came through, is this webinar will be available on our website. So if you aren't able to, if you know somebody who'd be really interested but isn't available right now, you'll be able to send them the link and they'll be able to see it later. So with that, I kind of want to just ask all three of you guys, how you found out about the Emma Bowen Foundation program in the first place. I know, Malcolm, you said your brother had been involved, but I'm curious for all you guys how you heard about it and what really made you decide to apply. Like, why did you decide to be a part of it?
I guess I can take the first question. This is Danielle. It's really a big happenstance and a funny story, the way I heard about the Emma Bowen program. I had a high school counselor who was never in her office, and I just happened to walk by her office one day when she was in there and thought I would take advantage of her actually being in her office. And I went in and asked about some journalism programs, and she gave me one, and I had already done that program the year before. She was like, well, I just have this one, and it's already 3 weeks late, but I just talked to the program director, being Sandra, and she said, just go ahead and fill it out, and, they'll be in touch. So sure enough, I turned in my application, not to encourage any of you to turn your application in late, but that just shows how well Emma Bowen will work with you. And then that was how I found out about it, just by being willing to go into my guidance counselor's office in high school.
Yeah, and this is Sade. My story isn't nearly as interesting. My mom just searched journalism programs, and this is one that came up. And I had already done a number of journalism programs in New Jersey, where I'm from, over the summers, a couple summers before. So I knew I wanted to be in a journalism program, but also something that included some aspect of business. I ended up minoring in marketing, and after attending the journalism programs that I had, one thing that stuck out to me was the very little pay that many journalists receive. So while I was still, I majored in magazine journalism in college, while I was still very interested in journalism, I wanted a program that sort of had more to it than just that, and it was a more broader stroke of the media industry, business, technology, those sorts of things.
Great. And I'm wondering, Malcolm, I know you said your brother knew about it. Do you know how he found out about it? Because you're more on the business side than on the journalism. That wasn't what drew you to it.
Yeah, so my older brother, let's see, he was more so on the media side. So he currently works as a design coordinator for the show Family Guy. But the way he found out about it was through our community. So a couple family friends had gone through the program and truly raved about their experience and what they were able to learn. So he took advantage of the opportunity, and fortunately I was able to witness his experiences and was able to take advantage of the opportunity as well.
Cool, thank you. And I'm curious, because you said like how much people raved about it. For all of you guys, sort of what did you learn about media that you sort of weren't expecting? What is it that really sort of made the Emma Bowen Foundation program and your experience as fellows different than maybe what some of your friends or other people were experiencing?
Yeah. I could take this one as well first. So what did I learn? I have to say, coming in, a lot of my image of media was of course shaped of media in television. So I can't say I had the most accurate picture of what a newsroom truly looked like or how decisions were made, but through the Emma Bowen experience, through the rotations throughout the summer, throughout the exposure, I learned much more about that process. I learned that media companies are a business, and they need to be run as such. There's a sales team that sells ad space in order for them to have the TV time to produce some of the programming that they do. You learn about how stories are chosen, who goes out on these stories, and how lives are changed. it really is incredible, and I'm so happy I was fortunate to really learn the ins and outs of the business, kind of.
That's great, and I think a lot of people don't know that about the media industry, so that's wonderful. How about you, ladies, Danielle or Sade?
This is Danielle. Yeah, I will echo everything Malcolm just said. I worked in a smaller newsroom. It was a top 40 market, DMA, and it was incredible at opening up my eyes to see how, like Malcolm said, how stories are chosen, how even just the business is run, because while we were at the #1 station in our market, we were only covering maybe a couple million households. And that wasn't even, you think about Houston, LA, these larger markets, and how many households they're getting into. And you look at how the FCC kind of governs how many households that these stations can touch and how many owners these stations can have, and that in order to make sure that, I know it's a huge world out there, and that there's so much that we don't see when we're just turning on and flipping channels, that every station has an owner and that someone's benefiting, and for every commercial that's out there, who places that commercial? Did that commercial run in the allotted number of slots? And I think that learning about how that business works and the decisions that go into that and the personalities that go into that, because one person may do it one way, another person from a different background may do it a different way for a different reason. So learning about that and seeing that play out, how bills are paid, how advertising is, how it's funded, it just kind of blew my mind. And going out on sales calls, sales runs, working with the different departments through the rotation, just really kind of just seeing all of that and seeing how many different roles there were. There weren't just, the news. There weren't just the anchor spots. There weren't just the reporter spots. You have promotions. You have sales. You have marketing, traffic, all of that. And it was just mind-blowing for me to see all of that and realize how many different roles there are for us, and really to see how we weren't represented. People of color were not necessarily represented in any of these departments.
Yeah. Sade, I don't know if you did you have a similar experience or different?
I would say both. Definitely echo what Danielle and Malcolm said. For me, I was really only exposed to print journalism. That's where my interests were. So going to a television station and also the #1 market in Philadelphia, the #1 station in the market, that was really eye-opening to me. Again, to see that it is run like a business. In my mind, up until that point, I thought of TV as, okay, if you write for TV, you're, a screenwriter. You either write for a show or you write, for a magazine. But, I got exposure to writing commercial spots, co-branded commercial spots for the station, writing video copy for an ad agency that we partnered with. So it really exposed me to how much my interests, which were writing, fit into so many aspects of the business, whether it was when I was in the marketing department, when I worked with the production department, or in my quote-unquote home department, which was web and digital. It really just allowed me to see that I didn't have to pick and choose as I thought I did, maybe when I was in high school and early in my college career, between, a print or a television or marketing or, and it sort of speaks to the role that I'm in now, which merges those. And I think that exposure at ABC and Emma Bowen in general opened my eyes to just approach my career path and with a very open mind and realize that there are a lot of ways to get to the same end, so to speak.
That's great. We actually had a few questions come in from from the audience, one from Amistad Meeks. Thanks for posing this question. Question is to you three. Do any of you feel as if you've achieved the goals you set for yourself when you entered the Emma Bowen Foundation? Do you feel as if you're on your way to achieving that goal? Pretty heavy question, but thanks, Amistad.
Hey, that's a good question. Thank you. I would say reaching a goal means you find new goals. And so you're always striving for something more. My goal was to work in broadcast news and broadcast journalism, and I did that for 5 years. And after 5 years, I got a little tired of it. I saw, you kind of see the cycle of things. When you're around something for 1 or 2 years, it's fairly new. When you're around something for 4 or 5 years, you kind of see the patterns of it. And after being in the program and having the access that I had for 5 years, because I didn't just work in summers. My organization, my sponsoring company, allowed me to work the summers, during college, during the week, Christmas break, spring break. I was there. And I saw these patterns, and I saw things that I couldn't change. And I wanted to be able to do something different. And I didn't want to go to a podunk station in Bismarck, Nebraska, or Bismarck, North Dakota. And so it gave me the opportunity to fulfill one dream, and it gave me time to dream a new dream and follow that dream.
That was a great answer. Love to hear from either Malcolm or Sade if you have any answers to that one.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sade.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say that, yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, I was a magazine journalism major on campus. I was known as that. That was not only as my only sort of quote-unquote identity, but I created a magazine for first-generation women of color, so people knew me as being very interested in the magazine industry. So when I decided to go into the page program and work at NBC and be in a very much entertainment-based environment, it was surprising to some people at least, and even to me a bit. But I saw the bigger picture, which was, again, because Emma Bowen gave me exposure, that media is media. And that if I can establish myself at a very well-known media entity and sort of learn all the things that I don't know and, again, figure out what I like and don't like, then that can only serve me well. And I was used to that from being in Emma Bowen, because you're thrown into an environment that you may not be totally familiar with, which, again, for me was television. You're rotating through different departments. You may have no idea how the business is run. You may have no idea what that corporate structure or that team structure is like, but you integrate yourself. So it's sort of, I was free from the thought of my goal is, you know, magazine, then I need to do X, Y, Z when I graduate. And so I didn't have that feeling as I think a lot of my peers did. And another reason was that the magazine industry at that time, and even still now, is just wasn't at that point, was not as focused on digital media, which is what my specific focus was on, and not as up to date in that facet. So I thought, let me try TV. And you know, now I worked at NBC as a page, and then I transitioned into a digital coordinator role at Bravo and Oxygen, which I loved. And then now I'm at Forbes, which is a magazine, and it's a magazine with you know, that I'm interested in, and it's, you know, business and technology news, which is what I'm interested in, and I'm in their content marketing department, so I'm able to merge content strategy, you know, business acumen, forecasting, data and analytics, all of those things that I sort of knew, even though I love writing and I love journalism, I want to see a bigger picture. I want to know how it all comes together. I want to know how decisions are made about who goes out and shoots what or writes what. And so in that sense, I would say I achieved that goal. I'm at a property that I would like to be at, doing the kind of work I want to do. But to Danielle's point, there's always more to do, and I have those things in mind as I think about, what I do here for the next year, the next 2 years, and what's next.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're like blown away. You guys are like, we love you.
You guys are all living the dream. Malcolm, Malcolm, would love to hear if you have anything to add. Do you feel like it's been a similar experience for you?
Yeah, I think both Danielle and Shadi have touched on kind of like a lot of my thoughts about the program. But I really like the question. So hey, have we achieved our goals we set out to when we started? I know for me, my goal was to find a direction for my career. As a senior in high school, a freshman in college starting off, I can comfortably say I didn't know what I wanted to do with my career. And I think the Emma Bowen Foundation allowed me to pursue that in a positive, constructive way. If you think about your peers, many of them have one shot to learn about a company, have one shot to learn about a department. With the foundation and the program, you have 4 to 5 summers to learn about you as well. So I think professional direction, I certainly accomplished that goal, but I learned a lot more about myself in corporate America in the process.
That's great. That's great, Malcolm. So we have a bunch of great questions coming in also. So would love to hear from you guys if you can put yourself in the Wayback Machine and try and remember what made you stand out as a potential Emma Bowen candidate, and really what you think the strongest portion of your application was. What helped you get accepted? What did you do on your application that you think caught the eye of the program and of Sandra Rice in particular?
That's I'm smiling.
Give me a little time for the wait.
I want to hear what they say. I'm old. I feel like I'm really old here. I don't even remember. I would say that probably the strongest aspect of probably my application at the time was maybe my story, but then B, what I had done up until the point that I applied. Emma Bowen was not my first program, my first journalism venture, if you will. I had done some other high school writing, high school yearbook, high school newspaper, some community newspapers. Like I said, I'd already done a previous journalism program, other leadership-oriented things, because that's really one of the things they look for, someone who is going to be responsible, because it's not just you that's showing up at these stations to interview. You're representing your community, you're representing the organization, and they want to know that you're going to take this seriously, and they want to know that you're going to be reliable and dependable when you show up every day to go to work. Because that's what it is. You're going to work. You're not just going to learn. You're not just going to be a student. You're not going to go goof off. You're going to go and be an employee. And they want to know that you've had experience and that you're going to do this and take this seriously.
That was a great answer also, Danielle. You were hard to keep up with. You had done a lot by the time you were applying. That's impressive.
I don't think I've done that much to date. So you were pretty impressive. I don't know, the rest of you guys, feel free to jump in so I can feel bad some more.
So Sandra, please keep me honest. I think the best parts of my application were, I mean, one, the personality. You need to be yourself. This is an incredible program, but you want it to be a good fit for you. So be yourself in the interview, be yourself in the application. It's just the best thing you can do. And then the second part, unfortunately, this is kind of what I do for a living, but research. So I think you knowing the program, what it offers, how it benefits you, those are extremely important. You need to know the history of it and why it was founded. I think those go a long way. It shows that really you've looked at the background, you've done your research, and your goals align with Emma Bowen's goals.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would echo that. I would say, I mean, I really don't know. I do remember the application. Like, I can see it in my head. I don't know what I wrote on it, but I literally can see it in my head. No, I think what stuck out probably was my commitment to diversity and perhaps the work that I had done in my school, in my community, that demonstrated a commitment to that. So showing a passion for something, whatever it is, media is very broad. What Emma Bowen, it seems specific, but it's very broad. So I think showing your passion is the best way to show, to Malcolm's point, show people who you are. And then, you guys being on this call is a huge head start. I mean, it's saved, so you can check it out after, Sandra, close your ears. But if you can listen to something that that we said or that anyone said that stuck out to you, rephrase that, make a direct quote, something, that just goes that extra mile to show, I'm here, I'm listening, and that goes back to Danielle's point of showing that, you'll show up. When this program is very rigorous in terms of what it asks of you. It pays back in a huge way, tenfold, but Mrs. Rice and everyone else involved is very serious about your commitment to this program. So show that in your application through your diligence, your research, and your passion.
Actually, that's a great actual segue to a couple of questions that we had coming in. And then I think this is going to be the last question for our panelists because we want to give Sandra some time to answer some of you guys who have sent in questions about the nitty-gritty details. Sandra will speak more to those. But a question that's come in from Pete is that how do you maximize your resources? You guys said showing up, but is there anything else that you did that really allowed you to take best advantage of the program? And did that help lead to any opportunities once the program was over directly into new opportunities for you? Yeah.
Sure. Just a good question. Thank you. Just have to take a moment to think about that. I would say yes, because with a lot of these, probably no matter where you are or if you're accepted and where you're placed into the program, you're going to meet people. And just one thing about, working in a workplace, you're working with a lot of different personalities, and you're probably going to gravitate to, a few people. And those people will know people, and they will try to, if they're good people, they'll introduce you around because they'll know you're trying to learn this business. As you're learning the business, you'll take note, and you'll follow up, and you'll do, you'll be doing your job, but you'll also be making contacts, and you'll be networking. And I think that is probably the most important aspect of this, because you may work with someone for a summer, and they may move on by the time you come back for the next summer. But if you've stayed in touch with them, it doesn't really matter where they are, where they've gone, that if you're following their path or you're in touch with them when something comes up, and they'll think of you, and that way you will continue to make those connections. For me, it was useful and beneficial while I didn't continue on in the media industry that way. I still have a lot of those connections. So that way when I do go back and visit, I have those connections. But when something comes up, I'm able to connect, person A from my past to person B who may be interested in the story idea. And so like you make those connections, and I guess that would probably be the most simple answer, is just the networking aspect of it, because you meet so many different people who, in a transient community like this, that they'll be going in one direction, maybe going the other, and ships passing in the night, they're going to eventually meet up again.
That's good advice, I think, for no matter what. So that's true. No matter what you're doing. Malcolm, I don't know if either of the other two of you guys have an answer to that. Otherwise, we'll pass the mic over to Sandra for some questions about the application. But if you guys want to chime in, feel free.
Yeah, I'll just quickly second what Danielle said. I think what helped me go far in my Emma Bowen experience at post-Newsweek stations was leveraging relationships. So you never know whose help you'll need. Like Danielle said, hey, if someone leaves and you still need someone's help, or you still need a deliverable from someone in another department, it helps to have those previous relationships and existing connections. So I think that's huge, and I couldn't agree more with what she said.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in really quickly to say, from what I've seen, it's so hard to find strong entry-level talent. So although you may be on the outside looking in and thinking, how do I get in here? There's so many people that want this job. Why would they want me? The answer is they need you. And to the point of leveraging relationships, as long as when people know, just by looking at you, this is a person who's serious, this is a person who's buttoned up, and then once they talk to you and work with you, this is a person who knows their stuff. And then once you go the extra mile and really seek out, mentors and advisors and all those sorts of things, it will come back to you because the industry needs you. So if you are at your best, you will see it come back.
Thank you, Sade, and thanks to the three of you. That was really just fantastic, sage advice, and it really, not just for this program, but for the next phase of college and your career in general. So I hope you all were taking notes because that stuff is really hard to find. So Danielle, Malcolm, Sade, thank you guys so much for that.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And I know there are some of you guys' questions we didn't get to. If we can, we'll try to get to them right at the end, but we want to turn it over to Sandra because we know a lot of people have really specific questions about applying. We want to make sure that we have time to get you the information that you need.
Yes, for sure. And again, we have there will be a survey after the webinar that you'll all be prompted to complete. So any of these questions that we didn't get to, feel free to include them there. And we'll do our best to get an answer to you. But now for the main event, Sandra Rice, our Senior Vice President of National Recruitment. Thank you for joining, and feel free to tell everyone what they really need to know.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you to everyone on this call. We are delighted that you joined. This is the first step along your way to paying attention to what you really want in your career. Most of the people who are not on this call, who have applied, they're probably going to make some mistakes. And unfortunately, we receive so many that we look to eliminate. We're like colleges. So you must be real focused when you complete your application. We want to make sure that you spell check. We want to make sure that you let your parents look over it, your friends, your school teachers. We want to make sure there's no errors, because if there are errors on it, spelling errors in particular, we kind of put it to the side because you're filling out college applications as well, you're completing your essay. We want to make sure that we get the best and brightest in this program, because you just heard 3 of our alums, and there's about 800 strong out there. You're building on what they have already built. So we want you to do really, really well. We don't want to send an Emma Bowen Foundation candidate with an essay that has errors in it to a network. we just wouldn't do that. So please make sure you're real careful when you complete your application. I can't stress that enough. On this call also is Crystal Adelphi, who's our recruitment associate, and she and I do a lot of reviewing and logging in your applications, and so we are looking for mistakes. Right, Crystal? Are you there? Is Crystal on the call?
Thanks.
And Crystal, please weigh in along with me. But that's really critical to us. So mistakes, mistakes, mistakes. What we're trying to do is to get a snapshot on you, on what you've accomplished at your school and outside organizations. It could be your church. We want to make sure that we know who you are and what you're trying to do. That's why we ask so many questions on the application. So as you are completing your essay, as you are completing your resume, you're making sure that we know who you are and what you're trying to accomplish. So keep that in mind. It's not just that you're going to put down that you worked for, let's say you worked at a hospital over the summer, or you work on the weekends at Walmart. We want to know what you're doing, what skill sets you're building, because even if you're at Walmart, possibly you're stocking up in supplies, or you are dealing with the customers, or you are working in, as I say, on the cashier, which is like finance. So skill sets like that we look for. If you are a computer savvy, we want to know all the skills you know. That's why we say additional computer skills. List all that you know. Everything that you know should be on this application and on your resume. Keep it to one page, though. We really want to keep that to one page. And also the essay, try to keep that between 500 and 600 words. We've had people who sent, a couple thousand words, and that's way too much. We are trying to keep it down to between 500 and 600 words on the essay. Crystal, do you have anything to add on that one before I continue?
I'm in agreement with everything that you said. Just make sure to have somebody proofread, let us know more about you, describe what you've done in your positions. It's all really helpful in developing an understanding of our applicants. Thank you.
Yes, yes. We want to encourage all of you to apply. We don't want to, to turn away anyone, but, unfortunately we don't have thousands and thousands of opportunities. We have a limited amount in all the cities, but we want to make sure that you are definitely reviewed properly and that you are included in the mix. So please, please, please be real cognizant of that. If you've joined a club, we don't want the ones who just join a club. We want you to have been a contributing member to that club. If you're a senior, if you participated in fundraising for the prom, if you coordinated a panel at your school, if you went to a hospice and you helped there, whatever you've done, we want to know what you've done. So don't just put down that I'm part of the Red Cross Club or the finance team. We want to see exactly what your contributions were. So as you develop and draft your resumes, just make sure that you're cognizant that that's what we're looking for. We're trying to see your leadership skills. You don't have to be the president of the club. You don't have to be an officer of the club, but you could be the one who helped put a program together. You could be the one who helped do a Saturday car wash. It was your coordination with that. Those are the kind of leadership skills that we're looking for. If you're the president and you did that too, great. But if you didn't, we're not looking for titles. We are looking for people who actually contributed within that club or that organization. And Malcolm was right, or whoever said research, I don't know which one. They're all so smart, my alums, I have no idea. But research the industry that you're trying to get into, what you're trying to accomplish, so you can probably reflect that if you make it to the interview level, that you're able to have a conversation with us or whoever the company may be about what you're trying to do. And research will do that for you. Research the Emma Bowen Foundation. We would like for you to know who Emma Bowen was. That's key. A lot of people have made that mistake, and I'm glad I'm telling the ones who are on this call, because now you're ahead of the game. One of the trick questions we have is, who was Emma Bowen? And a lot of times students come to the interview and they know the Emma Bowen Foundation and that we're an internship program, but they don't know who Emma was. And for us, all of us at Emma Bowen, we want to make sure you know you're in the house of Emma, and you should know everything about Emma Bowen. You can Google her. We're going to have a new website up in the next month or so, and you'll be able to see more about Emma Bowen on our website. But in general, you should be doing your research already with that. We also look for community service. If you have done something like that, we like you to put that down. We want to see how responsible you are definitely want to see what kind of work ethic you have. So if you have worked, even if you didn't get paid, if you worked at your church, if you helped in any capacity and you're not paid, that's fine. Just put that down as work, because that's like an employer. We just want to see, like I said, get a snapshot on you and the best of you. We want to see it on paper. So that's bottom line is, I guess we ask the best of you because you get 4 summers, 3 summers to do this. And as our alumni have told you, most internships are 6 weeks, 7 weeks, bye-bye, you're gone, and then you have to look again for the next summer to build upon what you learned the last summer. In this case, you're able to build a real fluid resume from a media company in the field you're trying to go, which will complement your degree. Most students, college students come out of college, they are struggling in their junior year, late junior year, senior year to put together a resume that speaks to their career, but they don't have a competitive resume. The Emma Bowen Foundation alumni have a competitive a competitive resume along with their degree. That's critical. You can come out with a degree, but if you don't have a competitive resume, you're going to have a really difficult time trying to find a job. So ours is amazing in that our applicants and our candidates, when they get into the program, they do not wait until junior or senior year to put together a resume. They start immediately in the freshman year, which puts them way above everybody else. And our research shows that. So I don't want to go long. I can go long, but anybody have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
We have a ton of questions. First of all, thank you, Sandra, for just dropping all the knowledge. That was amazing. It was like, here, you know what you need to know. But we have a couple of specific questions that have come in. But before we get to them, we're going to advance a little bit on the slide just so that everybody can see where to go to apply, what you need, just so you can stare at it while we're talking, so you will have no reason not to know what to do and where to go. And we just wanted to flag that we have a priority deadline coming up March 1st, and that one is especially important because some of the cities where we're placing interns are starting to interview people and select people, and you do not want to be left out in the cold because you were the best applicant ever, but we didn't know about you until it was too late. So please, everyone on the call, and tell everyone you know to get your application in sooner than later, because interviews are starting. Like, Sandra's going to hang up on this call and interview someone right now, so you need to be one of the people.
I'm in LA. That's why I'm here. I'm interviewing out here. So yes. So
get it on it, everybody. But to get to some specific questions we've got here, we had a couple. We had one question about. I know there was a mention of whether or not people could work during the summer and during the school year. I know that one of our panelists talked about working during the school year. Sandra, how common is it that people will work during the school year as well as the summer? Is that a common thing or rare?
It's more common than it used to be. A lot of students understand that competitive edge, and so they try to fill their resume with all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be their partner company. So let's just say they get into HBO and they work at HBO for the 8 to 10 weeks in the summertime. Well, HBO may have an opportunity for during the winter break or the spring break, and if they do, that student is allowed to do it. Most of our students will say, well, can I work for CBS or can I work for Lifetime in the fall or the summer? You are allowed to work for other companies to continue to build your resume. We encourage that. But you must work for your partner company in the summertime. It's mandatory. But during the school year, we encourage it. If you want to work for another media company, that's fine too. The more the merrier. The more internships you have, the more competitive edge you will have and when you go seeking jobs at the end of your college career.
Great. Hope that was helpful, folks. Looks like we have a bunch of other questions coming in and some from earlier. One, can I apply even if I am a sophomore in college? Sandra, do you want to take that?
Yes, and you can chime in too, because we are now experimenting across the country for all college students to apply to our program. So while we are definitely looking for incoming college freshmen and rising sophomores, we are also looking at students who will be rising juniors as well. So yes, you can apply to the program. Sometimes it depends on which city or which market you're in. You can send a question back to Michael or to Crystal, and they will respond back to you. But we are encouraging all college students to apply. If you are a junior in college, you can apply.
Yes, and that's a relatively new change for us. We're really excited to open up the floodgates to college students. Another interesting question, does one have to be in a specific major in order to be considered?
No, no, you know, not at all. We take English majors, history majors. It doesn't really matter unless you want to go into medicine, or unless you're trying to be an astronaut. Those are the fields that we're not going to consider you for. But a lot of these things are transferable, and if you are a let's say you're a business major, but you really want to go into finance. You know, you don't have to be a finance major. You don't have to be. We don't want to limit you like that. So no, you could be many different things. We do liberal arts majors, communications majors, broadcast journalism majors, business, finance, marketing, PR, engineering, computer science. A lot of the tech fields we are able to place. So
right.
You're high school students and you're so young, so sometimes you may not know right away, but if you are, putting down one of the ones I just talked about, that you'll be considered. Again, it's not medical, although we get those applicants too. So yeah.
And that's right on point. And what we, and I think our panelists made clear is that these media companies are really broad. There are a lot of different functions there. They do a lot of different things, and they run like businesses. So if you're interested in sales or finance or tech, as Sandra mentioned, those are great, great places. Media companies are great places to kind of hone those skills. Couple of other questions coming in. One about the LinkedIn profile and the type of professional pictures that are acceptable. Really quick answer to that, I think I can take that myself, is, the basics, what you've done, extracurricular activities, if you've had any positions. It doesn't need, we recognize that many of you are either, just finishing up high school or early on in college. We don't expect it to be so thorough, but so we just want to learn a little bit more about you. And in terms of professional pictures, for the most part, we just want to see your face. It doesn't need to be anything too fancy. We don't expect you to break the bank for this.
Yeah.
So.
You don't have to go do a photo shoot. You just need a picture that's clear and that if an employer saw it would recognize who you were and you would not be embarrassed to have it seen by them. So.
Right, exactly. And really we want to, we recognize how important LinkedIn has become in kind of the 21st century career marketplace, and we want to get you all started on that early. So
LinkedIn is not Facebook. Just keep that in mind. LinkedIn is not Facebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So keep it relatively professional.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't need to be anything too fancy.
No. There you go.
And we had a question about if a college freshman does not get chosen for this program this year, are they eligible to apply next year?
Yes, yes.
Yes, that's a very easy one to answer for us. Yes, for sure. Please continue to apply. If you don't get the chance this year, obviously, as Sandra mentioned, there are limited slots, but we definitely would revisit your application in the future.
And wow, you guys are flooding us with questions in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, we don't have too much time left. We'll try and get to one or two more, but again, there's going to be the survey afterwards that'll allow you to ask any of these, and we'll be sure to get back to you, if we can. I think most of them we'll be able to answer. So. Some questions about computer skills. I think that those are definitely important, especially in the 21st century companies. So that's something we suggest working on. I wouldn't say it's the only thing we're looking at, but it's something we're definitely keeping an eye on.
And just something to keep in mind, everybody, is I know there's a lot of concern. Oh, what if I'm not the right fit? What if I don't have the right background? What if I don't have the right skills? You lose nothing by applying. Applying will not, it's not going to harm you in any way, and it's a good way to think about who you are. You get your LinkedIn page set up, which is always helpful to have, and it's just go ahead and do it. And the very worst that happens is that you're not accepted, but just go ahead and apply, because a lot of times I think people doubt themselves. Is an issue. It's been proven for women, for people of color. Doubt yourself when you're really an amazing applicant, and if you don't apply, we will never know how great you are. So please. Think awesomely of yourselves, believe in yourselves, and just go ahead and apply. And I think we're right at 8 o'clock, so we'll leave it at that. But please apply Tuesday, March 1st. Get your stuff in, and put any additional questions in the survey, and we'll try to get back to everybody and get some information out. And we'll also be sharing some stuff on social media with questions that people had over the course of this webinar. So follow us, pay attention to what we're doing on Facebook and Twitter, and we'll try to get continued answers and information out to you guys as we continue getting your applications in. So thanks for joining us, and thank you to
so much.
our alums and to Sandra for being a part of it.
Thank you so much to everybody, and especially our alums. Thank you so much, Sade. Thank you, Danielle, and thank you, Malcolm. I don't know what to say. You guys are amazing. That's it. So.
Sandra's going to shed a tear to end the webinar. Thank you.
You know I do.
For joining.
Okay.
we are
Thank you.
to read those applications. Take care, everyone. Thanks again, and have a great night.
Bye-bye.